What is up, guys? It is Happy, and we are the IMDBUDS, and I am here with my boy, Morehush. What's up, man?
Hello. Not a lot. Really looking forward to getting into this one. It was weird.
Yeah, this is definitely a throwback. A lot of really big names in this movie.
Yeah, and it's like a cultural touchstone too, and it's one that I've gone many years without being exposed to that much. I know I've heard references to it and just never saw it, but I know a lot of people love it. It's a cult classic. People talk about it a lot. I just never watched it. And I've seen like one of the guy, I guess the director or writer, one of them did another cult classic too. Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, yep.
And I've only seen like bits and pieces of that. Like I feel like that's another cultural touchstone that I'm sort of missing that I might have to go back and watch again.
Also did Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I believe. Yeah, there's definitely have some really good movies on their coattails. So yeah.
But I was surprised with how many big, huge celebrities are very, very young in this movie. The movie is The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. That's really a mouthful. It's from 1984, hour and 43 minutes.
Yeah. It's very hard to find a live action movie that's not anime that kind of encompasses the vibe that this movie kind of throws at you at the very beginning. The main character, Buckaroo Banzai, he's a neurosurgeon. He's a physicist. He's a test pilot. A rock musician. Like the guy is all of it.
Lead singer in a band.
Yes.
Gunslinger. He also plays in this band a weird small trumpet that I've never seen before. It could be a real instrument. It might just be some invention for the movie, but it was very odd seeing.
He just pulls it out of his pocket.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere and he starts playing it in a very 80s band. And I couldn't place, like, it seems like it is set in the future. They never mention when it takes place, I don't think. At least if they did, I didn't catch it.
Yeah, I didn't see that either.
So in the opening, I was so confused during the opening of this movie. It's narrated by Clancy Brown, who is Mr. Krabs on SpongeBob. He's the guard from Shawshank. A lot of people would recognize him from this. But he's narrating the beginning of it, and his voice sounds a little different because he's so young. But I was sure it was him, and then he does appear, and he's one of the main characters in the movie.
Yep.
But the opening really threw me. Like I couldn't tell what was going on. Robert Ito plays like this Asian, I guess, physicist, and Buckaroo Banzai's parents are also physicists doing an experiment. Something happens, and they get killed. Like what happened there? Do you remember?
That's the part that I'm not terribly sure what happened to his parents.
Yeah, it was very confusing.
I know that him and the Buckaroo Banzai Cavaliers were like on this mission to It was
that was after the opening, where like the Clancy Brown narration was during his parents thing, but then we cut to, it seems like they're in the salt flats in Bonneville in Utah.
Oh, you're talking about the first scroll through?
I guess so. It was just like
when they were giving like the plot breakdown of the actual kind of background of the universe, sort of.
Yeah, because Buckaroo Banzai was just a kid, and his parents were doing this experiment with Robert Ito. Something happens and his parents are dead, and then they cut to present time, and not present time in our time, maybe present time in the future, like maybe the 2080s or something. But Buckaroo has grown up, and he's doing. Robert Ito is there too as that same physicist doctor, but Peter Weller, Buckaroo Banzai, is getting in this jet car, and they're going to. I mean, they don't really tell you much, but he does exceed the experiment. Like they want him to stop, and he just goes off and doesn't stop. And then he fires a laser out of the jet car into the side of a mountain, and that's when he goes into the eighth dimension. And then they're like, "Oh, he's just gone." And then he comes back like a few minutes later. Like he doesn't spend much time in that eighth dimension.
It's like they were supposed to, I guess, test the speed part of what the truck was capable of. Buckaroo is Buckaroo. He felt like it could handle it,
It's like I feel like, I mean, this wasn't explicit, but I feel like he tacked on his own experiment to this other maybe government sanctioned experiment, because there was like a 5-star general there and stuff like that. Like he did something in addition to the jet car experiment, maybe. Because before he arrives at the Bonneville Salt Flats, he is somewhere doing brain surgery on somebody, and they're like waiting for him to show up. Like he's late. He should be at this experiment on the Salt Flats, but he's off doing brain surgery somewhere.
Because he's got early morning, early AM brain surgery, and that's when we meet Jeff Goldblum.
Yes, Jeff Goldblum, very young Jeff Goldblum,
very young,
but still very much Jeff Goldblum. Like he has not changed. Like he has all the same mannerisms and like hand movements and stuff that he does in every movie. And he's also, I mean, he's there with Buckaroo Banzai doing the brain surgery. So I guess he's also a brain surgeon. Just not as good as one as Buckaroo Banzai.
I think he was trying to get a job. I don't think he was a brain surgeon.
Okay.
I think he was there trying to get a job because he met up with Tex and Reno from Nevada, and at the very beginning when the bus pulled up, I thought, and then that's when they went in to get Buckaroo.
Yeah, like
it was a very interesting beginning. You get to know a lot of people very quickly, and I love how they did it, because everyone had, like, the movie made their character have a reason. Like Perfect what's his name? Perfect Tommy. Perfect Tommy had a jacket that he gave Penny, but that was for later. But okay, so the beginning of the movie, you are introduced to a lot of people, and we learn that Peter Weller's character, Dr. Buckaroo Banzai, the protagonist, multi-talented scientist, neurosurgeon, is a renegade. And he's going to test out his, the oscillator overthruster?
Yeah. Overthruster is said, the word overthruster is said so many times in this movie.
It is. Did you count like how many times it was said?
No, I should have, but it was too late. Once I noticed that they were saying it a whole lot, it was too late.
I'm not going to watch it again. Yeah.
And they never really describe what it is or does, but it seems to be the device that lets them travel into the eighth dimension by firing a laser into a wall or mountain or something ahead of their conveyance, like the jet car.
Yeah.
But so we have the intro, we have the experiment. Buckaroo Banzai comes back from the eighth dimension after like just a short trip. He's just like, the eighth dimension just seems like a light show to me. And there are beings there that seem to notice Buckaroo Banzai has entered the eighth dimension.
I think he hits one of them.
Something happens.
It's like a drive-by. I don't know.
Yeah. And when he gets back to the Salt Flats, he busts out a window of the jet car to get out. And jet car's not in very good shape, but I don't know, it might just be after effects of being in the eighth dimension. But underneath, there's like a very wet looking like bulb, like this round spherical, like like Baldur's Gate 3, they have the void bulb, which is like a bomb you throw and it just like creates a void. It
Oh
looks
yeah,
kind of like that.
yeah.
It's
It's like
kind
a
of like that.
sad cabbage.
Yeah, and he just plucks it off. Bare hands plucks it off of the bottom of his jet car. And then they cut to John Lithgow in a very crazy room, like stuff all over the walls and just a
A sanitarium, kind of
Yeah,
like yeah.
John Lithgow, he's got crazy hair, and he's watching TV, and it's about Buckaroo Banzai and this experiment he just did. And he gets kind of angry and hooks himself up to some kind of
It's like a time machine or mental transporter.
he like clips something to his ear. It's like electrocuting himself, I think. Clips it to his ear, then like clips it to his tongue, and he gets a big jolt. And hair gets just the slightest little bit more crazy. And he's got a really heavy, like cartoonish Italian accent. And we don't really understand what his relationship to Buckaroo Banzai is and what
It's because
made him do that.
it's because the doctor that Buckaroo Banzai's with, he thinks stole his idea for the overthruster. Because way back in the day, him and the doctor, I don't want to say his name because I'm going to say it wrong.
Have it in my notes. It's Emilio Lizardo is the name.
Yeah, Emilio, and then Buckaroo Banzai's. Yeah, okay, so those two guys worked together, and then Lizardo thought that the other doctor stole his idea. So now he's like gone crazy thinking that like he's got the ultimate answer to get it to work, but Buckaroo already got it to work. So now he's like, I'm going to steal it. So now there's like kind of like the plot for the rest of the movie.
That was unclear to me. It felt like I was watching a sequel that I'd never seen the first movie of.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was missing something that, I didn't pick up that whole explanation you just made. I didn't pick that up from watching the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. See, I've seen it a whole bunch of times. So that's like later on, like that's what you understood that whole scene was about, which is kind of it's a little left field.
So in this, what turns out to be an insane asylum that Emilio Lizardo, John Lithgow's character, is in, Jonathan Banks walks in to like deliver mail to John Lithgow.
Just as like a nobody.
He's like a what do they call them in asylums? Or they're like wards, I guess.
Yeah, wards.
And Jonathan Banks, the first thing I'd ever seen him in that I recall is Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. He played Mike Ehrmantraut in those shows, and he's like huge now. But he was probably like 20 something in this movie. It's crazy. But it's he's in it very briefly.
Yeah.
And then later on, when John Lithgow escapes the asylum, he kills.
Yeah, he perishes.
Jonathan Banks' character. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like one of those interesting. Hey, I know you. And if there's anybody that likes like quirky sci-fi, like already, if you guys are down with this, go watch the movie. There's tons of places to see it, but yeah, we got some more plot to tell you about though. So after he gets his big gooey ball, they have like a conference, right?
Yeah.
Buckaroo gets a phone call in the back, but
From the president.
from who he thinks is the president, but lo and behold, it's a beam from some aliens in space that like give him the vision or the ability to kind of see past a veil. So he's able to see the aliens, which look like what we see on the screen right now.
Yeah.
But there are two kinds of aliens. So it's
are they both from Planet 10?
They are both from Planet 10. Yeah, there's the black ones and then there's the red ones. So let's see. Buckaroo.
They got.
Sorry, what was it?
I just want to say for the Planet 10, the bad guy aliens, the red ones, they got the best people. I mean, remember the first Men in Black movie where Vincent D'Onofrio plays Edgar?
Oh yeah, yes.
That was a really good performance. But this getting Christopher Lloyd and Dan Hedaya and Vincent Schiavelli, this guy right here to play the aliens,
like his alien, like looked like him.
Yes.
It was crazy. It was spot on. Like even I said that to my wife when we rewatched it for this podcast, just so I can get like some notes for it. I was like, even his alien mask looks like him. Even Christopher Lloyd's mask looked like it's crazy how they just pulled their, like even from like 84, they did a really good job on these masks where you would think that, you know, it's a cheesy kind of B sci-fi movie, and it's like, eh.
But both Vincent Schiavelli and Christopher Lloyd were also in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, one of the greatest films I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dan Hedaya, well, he wasn't in it as much as I thought. He was probably underused in it, but he's also kind of an odd duck character, and I just really thought the casting for those three bad aliens, the three main bad ones, was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, how they I liked the alien name theming, Big Booty.
Yep.
It was John. Everything was John.
Yeah, they were all John, and some of them had like, you know, not so bad last names. Like Coyote was one of them, I think.
Yeah.
Well, in a list, Coyote was one of them.
Yeah.
But one of them was Smallberries.
Yeah.
John Smallberries. Which I don't know. I don't know if I couldn't tell if I should have been laughing at that or if I was just being, you know, like a kid.
I think it's like typical 80s kind of humor. Like it's definitely holds the flavor of the 80s. So going back to the nightclub, I guess, because there was a character. Did we talk about Penny?
No, we haven't yet. So yeah, I think the scene with them performing as a band was before the press conference thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I jumped the gun. Sorry.
Yeah. So it might have been like right after this experiment was successful. You know, okay. Started the day doing some light brain surgery. Did an experiment on top of an experiment. Went to the 8th dimension.
Boom.
Then was like, hey, let's go. Let's get on a tour bus and go to this club to perform. So, brain surgeon, physicist, or I guess physicist, and then lead singer in a band, and also player of a small trumpet.
It's like jazz flute, but bigger. Yeah.
The costumes are, I mean, not just for the band, but especially for the band. It was very 80s, very
early 80s.
You know, suit jackets. With the shoulder pads in them and skinny ties and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think someone had a double neck guitar. If I'm not mistaken, I think there was a double neck guitar in there. I could be imagining
you're right. No, I think you're right. I think I was looking too hard for the keytar. I didn't see a keytar.
Oh, the keytar. That
It
would have
must be
been.
the future. It must be the 2080s if there's no guitar.
It's got to be. It's got to
We've
be.
evolved past them. But yeah, they're doing a song, and then um, Penny Pretty is in the audience crying. She's like sitting at a table crying, and Peter Weller or Buckaroo Banzai notices the song is crying, and he stops the music, and they have like a little exchange and stuff. And uh, does he at that point recognize that she looks just like his wife Peggy, or
Well,
his former wife?
when she says her name, she says Penny,
That's right.
and then she says Peggy, and then she says no, Penny.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
He
so
called her Peggy, like even after that too.
right. Like every single time he talked to her, it was always Peggy. Up until the jail, and then, but yeah. But yeah, it's like from then on he started to sing this weird song.
Yeah, he said, "Wherever you go, there you are." He said something like that. Oh, and he had a red microphone too. Like I've never seen a red microphone.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, did that mean anything?
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Like,
questions.
there's a lot of points in this movie where I ask why is it this way? Why is that going to come back later? And then it just never does.
Yeah, it's like
There's one specifically that really really bothered me. We'll get into it later. But okay, so this woman is distraught in the audience.
mhm.
Buckaroo Banzai decides to play a special song. Um, what is the song?
I don't. It was.
It's like a standard.
Yeah. It's only something that he can ever do. I don't think I could ever pull it off. But during the process of this song, she pulls out a revolver.
Yes, that totally shocked me. Like what they couldn't. It was the least subtle way to convey that this person is distraught
Like
or
she's real sad.
or whatever. She pulled out a gun and pointed it at her head.
It's like and by accident it goes off, and then like everyone like scatters and they try to figure out what's going on, and
Yeah, it's nuts. That was the first part in this movie that I was like, holy shit, this is bonkers. It just kept getting crazier and crazier.
yeah, it's like it was a whirlwind of like what the hell is happening right now. And then from here, this is where the next scene is then taken on to the at the jail, and Buckaroo sees his deceased wife and Penny, Peggy. So he's like, this is the reason why we're here. You're two souls, you're twins. And it's like this whole like plot for him to try to help her. So then there's like a secondary kind of love thing for her and him instantly because of his deceased wife, which, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just as simple as that. She is the long lost twin of his dead wife.
Yeah.
That's why they look exactly the same.
Yeah.
And they spring her from the jail, right? I mean, they don't break her out, or they pay, I don't know. She gets out. They pay her bail or whatever.
Yeah.
But she was arrested because of the gun in the club, I guess.
Yeah. Setting off a gun in a nightclub. Yeah. That's probably what did it.
Yeah, and she just has a little dress on, so he tells Perfect Tommy to give her his jacket. So
Yeah.
she gets the jacket.
Yeah. And that's the reason why he was there. That's the reason why his character was useful, to have that jacket.
Yeah. And I think after that scene, it goes back to the asylum, and Emilio Lizardo, played by John Lithgow, is in the process of escaping. He's
He's got the juice.
he's like packing a bag and stuff, and he makes a call, or he gets a call, and it's a Planet 10 guy. one of the bad guys.
Yeah.
And he's, I don't know, he's like ordering them around and stuff, but he kills Jonathan Banks, sad,
Mm-hmm.
and escapes. Then, is that when it cuts to the press conference?
I think that's when it cuts to the press conference because now he's out on the run.
Yeah.
So we go to the press conference of not the president of the United States, but one of the 5-star generals or whatever, or the senator or the vice president.
I think it's the defense secretary or something. I think I got it in my notes somewhere,
But there were a lot of really important people here at this panel, and then there's Penny.
yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
There with him. Oh wait, hold on. Okay, we missed something because Jeff Goldblum is outside the prison, right?
Yeah, and that's when he meets the Reno and
Reno, Nevada, and Tommy, Perfect Tommy.
Yeah, Perfect Tommy.
Approach the jail with Buckaroo Banzai. Jeff Goldblum is there. He's wearing a cowboy outfit, like a red shirt and like fuzzy chaps, I think. No cowboy hat, but they pull up and he says howdy. Which does not sound right coming out of Jeff Goldblum's mouth. And I think something is said and Jeff Goldblum says, "What, is he making fun of me?"
Yeah.
And that was more of a Jeff Goldblum thing to say.
Yeah, they kind of, well, because he gets both of their names wrong, and like right at the beginning he's like, "Oh, I know you guys, I'm a big fan," and then he gets both of their names wrong, yeah. and then one of them jabs at him, and he's like, "What, is he making fun of me?" It's like, "Yeah, you got their names wrong."
So they give him the name New Jersey because he's from New Jersey. Hmm. So my guess is that Reno, Nevada is from Reno, Nevada, mm-hmm. and Perfect Tommy is from the Bahamas.
I would think.
Thomas? No, Virgin Islands. I don't know. Mm. Perfect Tommy doesn't have a place name.
Yeah, well, Tex. There's Tex.
Yeah, there's Tex. What's Clancy Brown's name in this? Where's Clancy?
Rawhide. Yeah.
But anyway,
I think that's some good ones.
So Ellen Barkin, cute as a button in this, man. She's so great.
Oh yeah. This was one of her first movies, maybe.
Let's see.
I think she was very, very green but very good. I liked her in it. She looks like she's had some other stuff under her. Up in Smoke. Wow.
So she'd only been in movies for like 6 years, but
yeah,
I mean, they were not great movies, not big movies.
Yeah, kind of culty. Yeah,
I forgot she was in that. But yeah, she was cute as a button in this movie. Mm-hmm. Underused, like Dan Hedaya. She was a big part of the plot, but she didn't say much. She was just a love interest for Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah.
It was good seeing her in it.
Yeah, towards the end, they tend to utilize her more in scenes, but they could have used her because she's a great actress. So we are at the convention part, where Buckaroo gets the beam phone call from the so-called president.
Right.
Turns
out he goes into a phone booth and it wasn't the president, it was the Planet 10 thing or something, or maybe the good guys from Planet 10. It wasn't really clear to me, but he gets zapped through the phone, and he can now see that there are two people in the audience of this press conference that are bad guys from Planet 10.
Yeah.
And then another one busts out from behind the table or the lectern and kidnaps the defense secretary, I guess, or whatever the government guy is who is there. They kidnap him.
Secretary of Defense.
Yeah. The so Buckaroo Banzai runs after them. He luckily, very luckily, comes across some motorcycles that are being unloaded from a truck or something. So he just steals the motorcycle and starts chasing after these guys. They put the defense secretary in a truck and they take it off.
Let's see. And then from there, this is where we get to see one of the first good guys. There are some hunters that see this big thing,
Yes.
They thought it was a dinosaur, but they shot at it anyways.
Yeah, it was a flying creature that, did not look like it could be mistaken for any earthly thing. I guess dinosaur would have been, my first reaction too. I wouldn't have been thinking, oh, it's an alien from Planet 10. No, it's some. I guess it was supposed to be a spacecraft.
It looked like a big fat bird.
Yeah, it looked like a really chunky bird.
Yeah.
One that probably should not have been able to fly, but was flying.
Right.
So I don't think they shoot at it, but they go chasing it, and something has crashed in the forest. It's just right off the highway.
Yeah.
They approach it, and were there two aliens inside it?
I think the alien let out a decoy or something. Oh no, there were two aliens. That's right, because John somebody didn't make it. I later on, and it's a yes. Yeah. There were two. Okay.
But these aliens are the good electrons.
Yeah.
What do they call them?
Yeah, good electrons. Electroids.
Electroids. Yeah, something like that. The
Yeah.
aliens are electroids. The red ones are bad. The black ones are good. So these two are black electroids. They appear to humans as just black guys with dreads, like Milli Vanilli.
Yeah, and they talk Rastafarian.
Yeah, they have Jamaican accents. All the good guys from Planet 10 are black guys with Jamaican accents. Or at least they appear to humans as that.
Right.
I think they explain at some point in the movie that all of these aliens, there's some smell or some fume or gas that they emit that causes humans to see them as humans and not aliens, because they're not wearing a disguise. They're just wearing clothes, but humans see them as other humans instead of
it's like a cloaking mechanism.
Yeah. But later on in the film, that kind of doesn't make sense. We'll when we get to that, we'll get into it. But okay, so one of them is hurt. He gets out of the craft and is hurt, and the two guys that are hunting are approached by the three bad electroids or whatever.
Yeah, the red ones.
Yeah, and they say they're from the government, and they're this is part of a government project or something, and they're going to take care of it. The hunters don't believe them, which most movies that would be like, oh yeah, okay. Like most movies would just take the easy way out and have the hunters believe them, but no, the hunters do not believe them. They're going to call the cops, but they get killed by the bad guys.
Yeah, first time the hunters are actually like the rational ones, which I mean it was It's kind of like a funny plot point actually.
So what happens?
After that, we are taken to the bus, I thought, because we get to see the inside of the bus and the AKA the command center of the Hong Kong Cavaliers.
That's right. And Buckaroo Banzai tells them to use the transponder in his communicator or whatever to find his location. So
Yep.
they're on their way to Buckaroo Banzai.
Yep.
And at this point, I think Buckaroo Banzai has spotted like what's going on, but he's like keeping his distance.
I think he was waiting for the doctor to get to him to help convert the formula that he has in his head that was given to him through the phone call.
That's right. It wasn't the defense secretary that was kidnapped. It was the Robert Ito character.
Yeah, Robert Ito. Thank you. I didn't.
Yeah. What's his character's name? Professor Hikita.
Professor Hikita.
Yeah. So he is one of the physicists that knows about knows enough about the over thruster to probably construct one for the red man. So much jargon in this movie.
Yeah.
The red So that's why they kidnapped him. Buckaroo Banzai gets to him, gets him out of the van, and puts him on the motorcycle, and he takes off. So hostage is rescued, but they have to deal with the bad alien guys.
Yeah.
I think one of them is drinking, like in the van. He was drinking out of one of those large square batteries from, those really chunky flashlights that were like had square batteries in them.
Oh, the old D cells, like the big D cells.
It was bigger than a D cell because it was just like a cube.
Yeah.
That had springs on the top, and it seemed like that you could only use them in these large squarish flashlights.
Right. I think I remember what you're talking about.
One of the aliens was drinking.
Just drinking the juice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And when we see Christopher Lloyd and Vincent Schiavelli and Dan Hedaya, there's like a voice filter they're doing to make their voices sound alien, I guess, but it makes them kind of difficult to understand sometimes.
Right. Yeah. So in the bus, Buckaroo says once he finally meets up with the team, they've got to get the whole crew, phone up the Cavaliers. So they're gonna call up the Blue Irregulars. They're gonna. So this is all the civilians in the area, and this is when they like pull up some like real randoms, and it gets really cheesy. Yeah. But it's like, all right, so these guys are a thing, but then they're still like, they drop the comic book again. Like they talk about the comic book. So I don't know about a comic book.
That's another thing about Buckaroo Banzai. He's a neurosurgeon, physicist, rock musician. Plays a tiny trumpet. They have like a big following. There's like a fan club, and comic books are brought up like a few times in the movie, and they have this group of people listening on the radio for a call to arms, I guess, and I think they're called the Blue Blazers.
Right, the Blue Blazers.
I don't know why they're called the Blue Blazers. I mean, Buckaroo Banzai was kind of wearing a blue blazer during that club scene, but he doesn't for like the rest of the movie. Anyway, they call the Blue Blazers, and one of them just happens to be a helicopter pilot, and his kid was listening to the radio, heard the call for the Blue Blazers to help out, and went and got his dad and said, "Hey, let's go. Buckaroo Banzai needs our help."
Yeah, Buckaroo needs us. He's calling.
Yeah.
And that's when we get to Buckaroo kind of gets to talk to one of the red electroids. And that's when we get like a little bit more of like who they are, and like they're truly like the benevolent or the kinder side. Yeah, malevolent.
The black ones are the benevolent.
Yeah.
The red ones are malevolent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to mention this scene with the red Lectroids and the hunters. Vincent Schiavelli walks up. I'm gonna see if I can find a picture of this because this pipe is insane. He's smoking. He's smoking a pipe. Uh,
It was
looks
like a crab,
bonkers.
right?
Yeah, it looked obviously alien. There's no pipe I've ever seen that looks like this. It looks sort of like
I bet you
something out of
can.
a David Cronenberg movie.
You could probably do Z League. No, not Z League. I know what you're talking about.
Mm,
No.
it's just him smoking a pipe, not in the movie.
I'll find it and I'll post it in.
Okay. But yeah, that I don't know. I just like that touch because they didn't have to have their production design people like make a pipe that looked fucking crazy.
I wonder if he still has it.
But it looked like enough. Like, oh, here's the lantern battery.
Oh, there. Yes. Yes.
Very small, but there it is. Yeah, he's drinking out.
Just out of his straw, just sipping on the battery.
And when Buckaroo Banzai like intervenes, he kicks Vincent Schiavelli straight in the balls, and that's the big hero move. Just kicking him right in the balls. And then the helicopter swoops in with a rope ladder, and they are lifted to safety.
It's the best ever. It's the best. It's got everything but like true pew pew in the space.
Yeah. So anyway, one of the black lecterns from the crashed craft makes it out, but the other one who's stuck in there self-destructs the thing, so it blows up the craft.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
that was the one that was in the forest.
yes.
Right.
But Buckaroo Banzai didn't see him, like notice him at all. He gets away from the bad guys though, the dreadlock guy.
Yeah.
He's got a shiny jacket on and he's carrying a big pink box. Looks like he's full of donuts or a cake. So Buckaroo Banzai gets away with the help of the helicopter, goes back to base, his home, some compound that all the other Hong Kong Cavaliers are in.
Yeah, just like in the area.
Yeah. And Jeff Goldblum is like a new arrival to this team, but he's already getting to work. He's like on the computer trying to figure stuff out about yo-yo-dyne propulsion systems. I think that was mentioned by like the red lecterns, or no, they had a van with that printed on the side.
Yo-yo-dyne.
And
Yeah.
I think Buckaroo Banzai made a know that, and that was their next lead. So they're like looking into the company, and that's when they come across the list with all the Johns that were from the same city in New Jersey. And it was all like, I don't know, they figured out something that led them to believe they were just fake identities or stolen identities.
It's because the full list was like all the first names were John.
But there was something else about it I can't remember. Like they were.
It's like the first. I don't know. Yeah, but
they were all born on the same day or something. Oh no, it was a specific date in November. The War of the Worlds was broadcast on the radio by Orson Welles. That's what they figure out. It was that day, and Orson Welles. You know, everybody thought it, well, not everybody, but a lot of people thought it was real, this broadcast. And Orson Welles had to come out and say it was just a reading of The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, like a production of, a radio play production of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. But in Buckaroo Banzai, they determine that because the date of birth on all these Johns in this list was on the date of that broadcast, that the bad guys from Planet 10 actually invaded on that day. And that's why, I mean, that they cover up for that was Orson Welles saying that it was just an H.G. Wells play, radio play.
Crazy,
because it
man.
happened. Yeah, because it was set in that city in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Like the radio play was set in that city in New Jersey, and that's where Yoyodyne Propulsion Systems is located. That city in New Jersey. I can't remember the name of it. Like not Gate City, but something like that. Something Grove, something Grove. I don't know.
Mm. Yeah, no worries.
So they're doing hacking stuff into their Yoyodyne Propulsion Systems computer. They find list names, determine that they're all the Planet 10 aliens, and Buckaroo Banzai is catching up with Penny, like upstairs or something. And then I don't know. It was an odd scene with Ellen Barkin and Peter Weller. I don't think they didn't have much chemistry, but Buckaroo Banzai shows her a picture of Peggy, and of course it looks just like her. Explains that was his wife. She's dead. We don't know what happened. She's just dead.
She got yeah. They didn't really go deep into that. It was kind of.
I thought it was something they were gonna go over later. Maybe it's in a deleted scene or something. But I figured there was gonna be a payoff to that, and like where Penny, why they were separated or whatever, was twins. But no, just never covered.
Let's see.
Oh, so at the compound, the Hong Kong Cavalier compound or whatever it is, Buckaroo Banzai's home, the red electroids show up, and the dreadlight guy, the good electroid guy, he had gone to the gate and tried to get in, but the guy wouldn't let him in because he's like, Buckaroo Banzai's famous. People want to get in all the time. He's like, what do you got, a cake? I'll give him the cake, the pink box. So he passes the box up to the guy at the gate, and they take it inside. And he just waits outside because he can't get in. He didn't know what to do. But then the 3 bad aliens show up, and they just jump over the wall because it's like a big walled compound. They just jump over the wall, and then
they just just whoop. Like, why can't the other guys do that?
Then the dreadlock guy does it, and I was like, "What? Did he just forget that he could do that? Why didn't he do that?"
Yeah, I love that. It was like, what's going on?
So in the box, what was in the box?
It was like a hologram message for Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah, but it didn't have like 3D glasses or something. They had to fashion their own like special glasses to.
But they had to use hologram. like shells or something.
It looked like bubble wrap.
Yeah, that's right. It was like crazy bubble wrap.
Yeah, and they had. I think they mentioned that they had to make them so that they could see the message, but the message is a hologram from Planet 10, the black electroids. They're just the good guys. This time it's a black woman with dreads, and what does she lay out?
Oh, I think she lays out the ultimatum for the to destroy the that the red electroids were going to destroy the Earth, and they were trying to tell them how to like keep them from doing it, or
it's either that or that if Buckaroo Banzai didn't stop the red electroids from fashioning or getting a overthruster, then the black electroids would destroy Earth by dawn.
That's what it was. You right.
So
yep.
They don't have a lot of time to keep Dr. Emilio Lizardo, John Lithgow's character, from making them one or stealing theirs.
Yeah, because that's when the red electroids come in, kidnap Penny,
Yeah.
because they break into the compound, they kidnap Penny, and then that's when they give they're like, oh, there's only so much time, and then that's when they get the blue blazers together.
Yeah. Oh, and before the red electroids kidnap Penny, Ellen Barkin takes a bath, but we didn't get to see it.
Okay.
2 stars.
2 stars.
Um, and I think Clancy Brown's character gets like really hurt during like a struggle with one of these red electroids. And I just remember saying, I wrote it down in my notes too. I tell you, if it ain't one thing, it's another. Or no, maybe he says that when the good Lectroid was describing what was going to happen, how the Earth was going to be destroyed if they didn't stop them by dawn. I tell you, if it ain't one thing, it's another. Like this sort of shit happens all the time to Buckaroo Banzai
I mean,
and Hong Kong Cavaliers.
it's this is their average day. So the Buckaroo Banzai crew, they get kind of assaulted by the red electroids. So full out assault goes on, and they steal Penny, but then Banzai has to get in there with the crew to go try to steal her back, because because the red electrodes were using Penny to get the overthruster, I believe, right?
Yes, like she had the overthruster, but I think she
like had it
so that she didn't have it. No. Did she have it and they didn't know she had it? I think she had it and they didn't know she had it. They took her as leverage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what that was. They didn't realize she had it.
And they steal the helicopter. The red electroids steal the helicopter that Casper, the Blue Blazer father, piloted. Yeah, it was at their compound, and the bad guy stole it with Penny in it. And then, so this is what I need to get into here. So I mentioned before that these electroids, the red and black, emit some fume or gas that makes humans see them as human. The president is on the phone, on a video phone, with Buckaroo Banzai and the Jamaican black electroid from Planet 10. John Parker is what he's called.
Oh, yeah.
John Parker. So the president and his staff can see the screen with Buckaroo Banzai and John Parker in it, but they see a black Jamaican guy, not a black electroid. Even though they're not near him, they can't be affected by this fume or gas or whatever. That's just a small little thing that bothered me. It's not a big deal for this kind of movie, but
it's like, how come he isn't seeing your real form, and he's
okay. And here's another part about this that I thought was going to pay off. But the president has a bad back, like a very awful back, like the worst back.
Like he's always in traction. Yeah.
Strapped to a bed, and you think later on there's going to be something about this. There's something to this, because why would he have a bad back if it didn't mean anything, But it doesn't mean anything. He just has a bad back. I don't know why. Why did they make that choice? It bugged the hell out of me when I got to the end of the movie and realized we're never going to find out what the fuck was the deal with the president's bad back.
It was
gone.
It was such like a weird set piece choice too, because that in itself, the apparatus that the president is in is a character, because it's like gotten him spinning around.
It's the biggest thing in the room.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. And it's just no reason at all. It just is.
Yeah.
So, Penny has the overthruster. The Dimension 8 aliens don't know she has it. The president, because of his conversation with John Parker and Buckaroo Banzai, is I don't know. He's not declaring. He's declaring like a red alert or something, and Moscow does as well. And the five-star general that's like in the room with the president is pretty scared. The stakes have been raised.
There's lots of sweat. Yeah,
because there's only like 240 minutes left until dawn, and they have to stop the red Lectroids from doing anything with the overthruster.
Because the next day, they would already have seized the overthruster,
or created one themselves or something. Because I don't know. Did they got Penny down to wearing like very little? They must have found the overthruster, right?
Yeah. The final confrontation was a lot of explosions. It was a lot of unfinished plots being terminated very quickly. Towards the end, Buckaroo confronts the John Wolfen. And there's this big like back and forth, and he saves Penny, and there's the typical ending sequence, but there's not the typical ending sequence in this movie.
No, it's a very strange ending sequence.
It's amazing because everyone's back.
They're like, they're in some like cistern or like, I don't know, Hoover Dam or something. Where are they?
I feel like
a cement thing that looks like water flows through it at some point, but it's all dry.
It's the LA River, man. I feel like they had an extra day on like some cameras, and they're like, let's finish the day off.
Yeah, like the canals, maybe. I mean, it's so odd. I mean, it's got the perfect 80s music playing.
Yeah.
And nearly every character that's in the movie
comes back,
appears, and they're just having a walk or something. It's so odd.
I think it's cool because if you had a connection to any character in the movie, you get to see them do the walk. But they left it open for a sequel.
Yes. They even mentioned like the name of the sequel. Let me see if it's in my notes. Okay. Buckaroo Banzai Against the World Crime League. So that movie doesn't exist. It could potentially, they could still do a sequel.
Someone needs to figure that one out.
Yeah.
Everyone's technically still alive, maybe.
Yeah, there are some odd things that happen at the end, but we don't. For anyone who hasn't seen it, if what we just described doesn't convince you to, nothing will.
Yeah, it's its own flavor. It's like fruit punch. You have to have it to understand it. I can't explain it.
And it's worth a watch. I mean, it is a cultural touchstone. There's references to it everywhere, and if you see something or read something with that reference in it, you're just gonna not understand it, and you're gonna miss out. It'll be sad.
It's gonna be sad. Yeah, it's definitely a chunk of time encapsulated in this movie, and it screams 80s in like the most perfect kind of way. My last score, I gave it. I went a little nuts with it. I'm gonna let you go first.
Um, I'm gonna ignore the IMDb rating here.
Yeah.
It's a 6.2 out of 10. I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5.
Yeah. 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 I was gonna say 7. Yeah. Yeah. This one's definitely good. And I've watched it many a times. I actually found this one, I have to admit, in 2020.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So
I thought it was something you've been watching since you were a kid, man.
no, no, no. This is 2020 material. This is of
Wow.
recent love for me. So
Yeah, how did we go so long without seeing it? Because
yeah,
I mean, it's
I don't know. This was something that I found on Amazon, I believe, and then I think Netflix had it for a while, and then it looks like it's on some other streaming services as well, which is awesome. But yeah, guys, definitely check this one out. This was a fun watch.
yeah, definitely.
All right, guys, I'm happy.
I'm more hush.
All right, guys, until next time, peace.
Bye.